Excuse me. Okay. Alright. And let's go ahead and send for that account. Okay. Wow. We got 4 people watching. Five now, nice. Well, welcome to all my viewers. If this is your first stream, then please go down into the little, I guess, area below the video and subscribe. Please, feel free to. Granted, I've only done streams so far. I haven't done any actual videos, but I hope you all enjoy the streams I have up. And I bid you all welcome. If you can't tell by videos or streams title, it's gonna be another reaction stream. Hello. I don't know how to pronounce the name, so honestly, I'm not even gonna bother. Just blanket hello to all my viewers. Okay, camera's still working. Good, good, good.
What is up, everybody? We're playing some Fall Guys. They got the A crew here. It's my
Oh well, at least I have some viewers. Alright. There we go. Okay, so click join. Check this out. Well then, that just happened.
Do you have vision on the bed or lower down?
There we go. You should be good now.
I know where my phone went. I picked it up from there.
No. I don't know where it is then. I would ask if you want me to call it, but I'm about to start stream here soon. Alright, let's go ahead and start the stream.
So
Sorry about all that. Bit of a technical difficulty there. Okay, now we can start. 3, 2, 1. Well, let's start.
Welcome to Variant, where we love comics more than I love Power Rangers over superheroes. For a couple years as a kid, I'm your host, Ares Quinones. For a couple years now, Boom Studios has an amazing Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic coming out every month. And if you're a fan of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers like me, you really need to check it out. In fact, for those of you who have Comixology Unlimited, which allows you to read thousands of comic titles for only $5.99 a month, the first 12 issues of this Power Rangers title are part of their subscription. No, they don't sponsor the show, it's just a really solid deal and something we use all the time. So I figured I'd share it with your lovely faces. Anyway, one of the coolest things writer Kyle Higgins has done with the Power Rangers title is create...
Now, before we actually get any further into this, I figured I'd go ahead and give you guys a couple of videos on the origins of the topic of today's reaction stream, Lord Draken from the Power Rangers comics. So, let's get further into this one.
The now fan favorite character, Lord Draken. If you've never heard of him, that's a darn shame, because he's an older and evil version of Tommy Oliver from an alternate timeline that rules his Earth like an evil dictator. He also just so happens to be a freaking green and white ranger hybrid. That's right, he possesses the Dragon Dagger and Saba. This ranger is no joke. As if that wasn't enough, Draken also controls the Black Dragon, which is a Zord-like machine or robot that was built using parts from the Dragon Zord. But as for the origin of Lord Draken, the character first appeared in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 9, although we didn't get his origin until issue 12 of the same series. In issue 12, Tommy, the original Green and White Ranger, and Billy, the original Blue Ranger, have been teleported to Lord Draken's Earth. On his world, the Saba of his Earth reveals to them where Draken came from and how he was created. He tells them the Tommy Oliver of our world gained his powers in a very different manner from the rest of the Rangers. His power came from Rita Repulsa after she kidnapped and brainwashed him into leading her forces. Tommy and Billy then reply by telling Saba that's how it happened on our Earth. Once we destroyed the Sword of Darkness, Tommy was free. Saba is then like, same here. Once he was free, he was able to make a choice, and make a choice he did. You see, Saba went on to explain that the Red Ranger destroyed his Sword of Darkness and set Tommy free as well. But when he did, Tommy tells the Rangers to stay away, and he teleported away from them. Saba continues to explain by saying, while Zordon stressed the importance of defending the world from forces of chaos and destruction, Rita took a different approach. Her message was one of subversion, that the world needed to be destroyed and rebuilt anew. Rita's ideas polluted Tommy's mind, and whether it was his disenchantment with the status quo or the allure of more power, he chose to stay loyal to Rita. And working side by side with Rita, Tommy spent several years working to liberate the people of Earth. In the process, cities fell and world leaders submitted to Rita's will. It got so bad that some of Earth began to rationalize her rule. Much of the population pretty much adopted the if you can't beat them, join them approach. But Zordon had one last hope to defeat Rita and this evil Tommy. A Hail Mary play, so to speak. He would harness all the good left in the world and create a Ranger stronger than any before him, the White Ranger. And the logical choice to become the White Ranger was, of course, Jason, the current Red Ranger. So on the eve that would become known as the Fall of the Rangers, Zordon began to harness the light. Meanwhile, allies new and old fought to try to hold off Rita and Tommy's attack on Earth, which was taking place right in front of the command center. Saba, who again is telling the story, explains that this didn't leave Zordon with much time to make Jason the White Ranger. So he was trying to act on Earth.
You see, I love this image. I love this little splash image right here. Because you've got Tommy leading the fight. That's Scorpina, Goldar. I forget who exactly that is. A lot of putties. See the Alien Rangers there, a Phantom Ranger from Turbo, the rest of the MMPR Rangers, and, most importantly in my opinion, the Thunder Zords. Not the original Dinosaurs.
Which was taking place right in front of the command center. Saba, who again is telling the story, explains that this didn't leave Zordon with much time to make Jason the White Ranger. So he was trying to expedite the process as much as he could. But it just wasn't fast enough. And Tommy broke into the command center, interrupting the White Ranger's process and telling Jason to surrender. Jason obviously refuses, so Tommy points his Dragon Dagger at Jason's throat and says, well, it was your choice. Now then, how about that new power? The next page then reveals the inevitable. Tommy stole the White Ranger power. But it didn't stop there. His Green Ranger power merged with the new White Ranger power, after which we see him standing there holding the Red Ranger's shattered helmet, fully transformed into Lord Draken. Saba then finishes his retelling of this story by calling the moment the beginning of the end. And just like that, we have this awesome evil Ranger's origin. Like I said earlier, Draken is a really cool character and villain, so make sure to check out the Power Rangers comics to see it for yourself. I'll also mention the Shattered Grid short film, which gives us our first look at a live-action Lord Draken, with Jason.
Now, this short film he just mentioned is just that. It's a little teaser thing. It didn't go anywhere. Some would consider it fan-made. But, of course, it does star Jason David Frank, so I guess in some technicality it is a little bit official. But, like I said, nothing came of this. It's just this little thing was made to celebrate Shattered Grid and, by extension, Power Rangers' 25th year anniversary. So, yeah.
To David Frank reprising his role as Tommy Oliver. We'll drop the link for that in the description below, so you guys can check that out as well. Speaking of Shattered Grid, be sure to pick up the free Comic Book Day issue of Power Rangers. It's free and ties into the Shattered Grid story that's currently 3 issues in at the time of shooting this video. Lastly, if you guys would like us to do more episodes on the Power Rangers comic series or the Power Rangers in general, let us know in the comment section. But that wraps up today's episode, my comic comrades. But as always, be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and check out our website. All the links for that are in the description below. Also, if you like today's episode or any of our videos, be sure to subscribe and then hit the bell next to it so you're notified whenever we upload a new video. But I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.
Alright, next video is, like I said originally, it's another Origins video, same character, just a little bit different from the one we just got to watching. So
many Rangers, so much potential, squandered for so long.
You either die a hero or live long enough to become a monster. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be exploring the origins of Lord Draken from the Boom Studios' Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comics. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. We've chosen primarily to follow the storyline that began in 2016's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 4 to 9, unfolded in 2017's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 11 through 16, and was expanded on in 2017's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Annual. While the story seemingly ended in 2017's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 16, it jump-started again in 2018's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 24, just in time for the Shattered Grid arc starting in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 25. In the original TV series, Tommy Oliver was the new kid in Angel Grove, and Han chosen to be.
and of course, all the comics just mentioned are available online. So if you want to go and check them out, again, they're online. So just look up, just do a quick Google search for Boom Studios Power Rangers comics, and you should find them fairly quickly.
Become Rita Repulsa's evil Green Ranger. Controlled by the Sword of Darkness, Tommy successfully disabled the Ranger's connection to Zordon, and overpowered the vulnerable team at every turn.
We're in trouble! We don't have enough power left to finish this fight!
After one last climactic duel with Jason, the Red Ranger, the spell was broken, and Tommy became a much-needed ally, and eventually, a legend in Ranger history.
Congratulations, Tommy. You are now the leader of the Power Rangers.
Oh man, it's good to be back.
However, Boom Studios' 2016 and 2017 comic book story arc answered one important question. What if things had ended differently, and only grew worse? In an alternate dimension, Jason destroyed the evil sword much like their prime counterparts. However, after being free from Rita's influence, Tommy ran away from the Rangers, confused and traumatized. Seeing the perfect opportunity, Rita swooped in and had one last little talk with him. Using no magic, Rita coaxed him into willingly joining her, and together, the two began a ruthless conquest of Earth. Outside the command center, one last brawl broke out between Rita's army and a combined force of Mighty Morphin Rangers, the Alien Rangers, and Phantom Ranger. Meanwhile, Jason was chosen to become the White Ranger, their last hope to win the war. However, Tommy interfered with the process and became a green/white hybrid ranger, adopting the name Lord Draken. Since that day, the only small semblance of the Tommy we knew is his determination and cunningness. The rest belongs to Draken. a ruthless, sociopathic tyrant ruling over his army of sentry soldiers with an iron fist and never thinking twice before murdering. He made that clear when he slew his world's Jason, Zordon, and Billy, the Blue Ranger. Along with his army and powers, one of Draken's best weapons was his personal Zord, the Black Dragon. This deadly droid could alter its size at will and act as Draken's vessel to other worlds, including the Prime Universe. After being pulled into the Prime Universe, the Black Dragon aided Prime Rita in a hostile takeover of the command center, cutting off most of the Ranger's powers and taking control of the Zords. Tommy and Billy managed to disable the dragon, but were dragged into Draken's dimension, powerless and alone. Luckily, they met up with the last line of resistance against Draken, the Coinless, made up of former Rangers and allies. Tommy and Billy helped the Coinless with one last stand against Draken's forces, but it was all in vain. Draken captured his weaker self and threatened to kill him unless the resistance surrendered. However, good old Billy had one last surprise. Using his departed counterpart's morpher and help from the Prime Rangers, he cut off Draken's powers and brought his friends over to fend off the now powerless Lord's army. Tommy and Draken dueled one last time, Draken trying to goad his doppelganger with no success, before the latter leapt to his supposed death. He survived, but he was inadvertently dragged back to the Prime Universe, only to be found and abducted by US government soldiers. Months later, Draken's fate was revealed. He was kept in a holding cell at the Promethea tech complex. Promethea had a close alliance with the Rangers for a while, which makes this discovery a little awkward. The facility was certain that keeping Draken here was for the best.
A little awkward? More than a little awkward, I'd say.
Keeping the outside world safe from his terror. Oh, how wrong they were. Saba, from Draken's universe, attempted to assassinate Draken only to accidentally free him from his bonds, which gave him the tool to escape through a portal. Once again on the loose, Draken began to set his newest goal into motion, to travel across time and space, restart his evil army, and destroy every Ranger across the multiverse. Terrifying, isn't it? The thought of the greatest Power Ranger of all time becoming the deadliest Ranger hunter ever? We should be lucky that our Tommy chose the path of good. But if Draken can travel across dimensions, then no one is safe.
When they're powerless and alone, they will realize the truth. They could have been gods.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Watch Mojo and subscribe for new videos every day.
Alright, now, this next video, well, really these next two videos are a little special. You'll see why.
You may know me as Tommy Oliver. You may know me as the Green Ranger. But I am not the man you know. I am a man from a different reality. I conquered my Earth and became someone infinitely more powerful. I am Lord Draken. Now I'm coming back to this world to conquer the Power Rangers here and everywhere else, wherever and whenever they're hiding. And that's just the beginning.
No one is safe. No one.
Isn't the smallest...
Now this one, this one is gonna be fun. This the little quote-unquote fan-made kind of teaser trailer dealio that I mentioned back at the beginning of this stream. So, yeah, this one's gonna be fun, guys. Let's go.
chance of victory? Enough of a reason for us to keep on fighting? The world needs us, Rangers.
One day the great responsibility of being the Green Ranger will fall to you. Take the world from evil. Stand by your allies. Never run from a battle.
My mission is to bring you back.
Ready!
Let's rock it!
Yeah! Silver! Black!
Pink!
Blue!
Yeah!
Whatever we do,
Start this over so I can point out some Easter eggs. That is Adam's broken morpher from Power Rangers in Space.
The smallest chance of victory. Enough of a
Or,
reason
well,
for us to
don't
keep
know
on
if it's specific atoms, but it's definitely a broken morpher.
fighting. The world needs us, Rangers.
One day the great responsibility
Jason's cracked power sword.
of being the Red Ranger will fall to you. Take the world from evil. Stand by your allies. Never run from the battle.
My
Zack's power axe.
mission is to bring you back.
That was Jen's voice talking. One of the most important scenes in Power Rangers, when the Power Rangers actually revealed themselves in Power Rangers in Space's final episode, Countdown to Destruction, and the helmet that is in the foreground there is one of Drax's Tyranno sentries.
Ready!
Let's rock it!
Yeah! Silver! Black!
Pink!
Blue!
Yeah!
Whatever we do, we have to do it together.
Power down!
Commander Kruger told me you're the best he has ever...
The one talking earlier was Scott from Power Rangers RPM. That is Cat Minx from Power Rangers SPD.
Till we meet again, Power Rangers.
That is one of the Alien Rangers. As you can see, one of the Tyranno sentries is holding Lord Zed's staff. That's astronomer.
Do we still have shields? Engine cell!
That is an engine cell being inserted from Power Rangers.
Activate!
Ready!
Ready! Ready!
So many Rangers. So much potential. Squandered for so long.
My lord, the generals are ready. They simply await your command.
What's important to me now is my friendship with all of you.
That was
I
a
never want that
saber-tooth
to change.
sentry.
It won't, Tommy. You'll always be
I'm
one
talking
of us.
to Lord Drakenor.
And it's time to set things right.
We will invade their worlds. We will tear down everything that might...
You see the power blaster there. Back it up a little bit.
We will invade...
Power blaster is on the left here. That's Jason's cracked sword. That's one of the saber-tooth sentries. Draken himself, obviously.
Their worlds. We will tear down...
You'll notice, actually, that they are in, Lord Zed / Rita Repulsa's throne room on the moon.
Down everything that might protect... We will invade their worlds. We will tear down everything.
Yeah, there's Zed's staff in the background with the Tyranno sentries.
That might protect them.
Can't really make out what that's supposed to be.
And then,
There's the power morpher I mentioned earlier.
when it's too late,
Zack's smashed power axe.
when they're powerless and alone, they will realize the truth. They could have been gods.
Massive army. That might be the White House? I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. Shattered grid. No one is safe.
Lord?
Alright, these are the top 10 Power Rangers Lord Draken facts. So, let's
Draken.
go.
one of the coolest Power Ranger villains of all time. It's crazy to think how big of an impact he's had, and he only made his debut back in 2016. But when he did debut, he became an instant fan favorite. Now, there may be some people who don't know a lot about him, so that is what this video is for. Hey everyone, what is up? Welcome to Top 10 Nerd. I'm your host, David Rath, and today we are going to be talking about the top 10 Power Rangers Lord Drakkon facts. Now, as always, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and remember to subscribe to Top 10 Nerd so you never miss one nerdy moment. Also, this video will contain some mild spoilers for the Power Rangers comics, so you have been warned. Now, with all that being said, let's dive in. Number 10, he's Tommy Oliver. At this point, I feel like everyone knows this one, but it just had to be on there, because it's crucial for his character and his character's motivations. Now, he's not the Tommy Oliver we all know. He's an older one from an alternate reality, and one that wants nothing more than to destroy the Power Rangers. I feel like regardless, Lord Drakkon would have been fairly popular even if it wasn't Tommy. But making him Tommy was genius. It established a connection to the Power Rangers unlike anything we have ever seen. I mean, this was a member of their team. Not the one they knew personally, but still, seeing an alternate version of your friend who you knew and you loved would be difficult for anyone, because he is clearly in pain. God, it's such an amazing story. Number 9, created the Ranger Slayer. Yep, Lord Drakkon created the Ranger Slayer. He's basically the gift that keeps on giving, because he's not only awesome, but so is the Ranger Slayer. If you don't know, the Ranger Slayer is Kimberly Hart from that alternate universe. She became known as the Ranger Slayer after she was brainwashed by Drakkon. Drakkon killed some of her former teammates, which was the reason she chose to take him on herself. She ended up losing to him in a battle. He then brainwashed her, and she became known as the Ranger Slayer. She controls the Bow of Darkness and became this badass ranger who killed a lot of other Power Rangers. Number 8.
Now, before we continue on, I'm gonna say this. The Zord that was in the reflection of the Ranger Slayer's helmet is the Grave Zord, which is the Ranger Slayer's personal Zord, much like the Black Dragon is Drakkon's personal Zord. And the Grave Zord is kind of the amalgamation, I guess, of all the Thunder Zords. Like, from after the Ranger fell in the final battle, in the battle that gave birth to Lord Drakkon.
8. Caused the biggest battle in Power Rangers history. During his run in the comics, Drakkon started something that will go down in history as the biggest power.
Now, here in this flash image, you can see the Thunderstorm Megazord, the Ninja Steel Megazord, the Hyperforce Megazord, Wild Force Megazord, Dragon Zord in battle mode, Titan Megazord, and the Shun Megazord. As for the Rangers that are visible, we see the pink Zeo Ranger, blue Overdrive Ranger, gold RPM Ranger, yellow Beast Morphers Ranger, red RPM Ranger, red SPD Ranger, Quantum Ranger, Gold Ranger, Phantom Ranger, green Hyperforce Ranger, blue Dino Charge Ranger, and red Lightspeed Ranger.
Number 8. Caused the biggest battle in Power Rangers history. During his run in the comics, Drakkon started something that will go down in history as the biggest Power Ranger event/battle ever. Shattered Grid. It brought together every single Power Rangers team, like ever, and they all banded together to take on Drakkon and his armies. It was legendary and will probably be the biggest, / coolest one we will ever actually see. I mean, the legendary battle from Power Rangers Super Mega Force tried to do something kind of similar by bringing together all the former Ranger teams, but it just didn't work as well.
Legendary battle sucked, in my opinion. Shattered Grid event was much better.
Especially since we only saw a handful of Rangers unmorphed. The rest didn't talk and stayed in their suits the whole time, so it kind of took away from their return. Number 7. His suit. One of the coolest things about Drakkon is his suit. It's a mix of Tommy's Green Ranger suit and White Ranger suit.
Is cool.
And it looks amazing. Plus, it evolved over the course of the series, once you started collecting more Ranger powers. But, in the comics, Zordon was in the middle of giving Jason the White Ranger abilities when Draken intervened and took them for himself.
Now this design, the one that's on screen, is from after... Well, actually, before I say, I'm going to issue a spoiler warning for Shattered Grid here. The suit design that's on the screen is from after Draken went, quote-unquote, back in time and stole the Zeo Ranger, stole the Zeo Ranger powers after having already stolen the Samurai powers. Which I don't know if can actually make out the samurai power visual, but you can definitely make out the visuals that coincide with Power Rangers Zeo. And if anyone can make out the samurai visuals, Power Rangers samurai visuals, down in the comments.
And it ended up merging with his own, already Green Ranger power, and created this whole new suit. Also, it instantly made him one of the strongest Rangers right on the spot, since the Green and White are both very powerful on their own. Put them together and you have this unstoppable duo.
Yeah, you do.
Number 6. Killed a lot of Power Rangers. This is where he has a lot of other Power Rangers villains beat. Well, I mean, the Psycho Rangers have done this too, and the Ranger Slayer, just not on the scale of Draken. But, as the title suggests, he killed a lot of Power Rangers and stole their powers for not only himself, but his sentries. He had a connection to the Morphin Grid like no other Ranger has ever had, because he had the Morphers from all different types of Ranger teams. And the interesting thing was that it turns out that he only needed one Morpher from each team to grant him that specific connection to the Morphin Grid.
Yep, only needed one Morpher from each team. Just one.
The rest...
Imagine that. Only needing one Morpher from each and every single Power Ranger team out there at all to grant you a connection to that specific section of the Morphin Grid. You'd only need one Morpher from, let's just throw a few Ranger teams out there. Ninja Steel, Hyper Force, Time Force, Lightspeed. You'd only need one Morpher from each team, and boom, you'd have their powers. That's scary.
He just gave to his sentries, which actually is a perfect introduction into number 5. He created the Ranger sentries. As I just mentioned, he took powers from different Rangers. And what he didn't keep, he gave to his sentries, which were like his Power Ranger soldiers. Now, they would take on a similar look to whatever power they took from. So you had some from all different Power Ranger seasons.
You had the Mighty Morphin Pink and Black Ranger sentries, which you can see on screen. There's a better view of the Black Ranger sentry. You had sentries that were based off of In Space, Jungle Fury, Ninja Steel. There were all kinds of sentries.
It was very cool to see. They weren't as powerful as some of the Rangers, but they were close and were skilled enough to take them on in a fight. And there were hundreds of these guys, which...
Yeah, see... You can see a blue samurai sentry there in the background. There is a Dino Charge Gold sentry. One of the Tyranno sentries here in the very foreground. Sabertooth sentry here. Mammoth sentry here. Jungle Fury Rhino sentry here. There were all kinds of sentries.
Which makes it even scarier. Imagine seeing an army of them and they're just got all these weapons coming at you. I mean, they'd make for a formidable foe, that is for sure. Number 4, chose to stay evil. This is one of the most interesting things about Draken. he chose to stay evil. Unlike the Tommy of the main Earth, who, after being freed from Rita's spell, he chose to join the Rangers and become a force for good. This Tommy, however, decided to stay evil and wanted nothing more than to destroy the Power Rangers. It was an interesting twist and really changed the way we looked at that version of Tommy. Clearly, he was a damaged guy. I mean, he was put under a spell and forced to be evil by Rita. And people always wondered, what would have happened if he didn't join the Rangers? Well, now we got to see it, and it was...
Sorry about that. Excuse me. Also, I just remembered the name of the big floating head that you can kind of see here in the top left. Though on the video it'll be hidden by my head. Or rather, face cam. So, the guy in the upper left picture, or upper left portion of the picture on screen is named Lokar. Couldn't think of his name earlier. I just now remembered, which is why I'm pointing it out.
Done so well. Number 3, consistently got more powerful.
Yep. Give me just a second. Okay. Make sure everything's still on. Boom. Cool beans.
When he first got introduced, Lord Draken was already very powerful. But as the series went on, he just kept getting more and more powerful. Like, during Shattered Grid, he was basically a god. He had taken so many Ranger powers that he just basically couldn't be stopped. And it was cool to see. All the different versions of his suits have already become very popular for cosplayers. I mean, just Google it and you can see. Plus, it was cool to see how it evolved and changed over time as he took another Ranger power for himself. Number 2, already appeared in live action. As soon as he...
Which is actually the quote-unquote teaser trailer that I showed earlier.
Was introduced, people started saying, when are we going to see Draken in live action? And will Jason David Frank, who plays Tommy, be able to play him? Well, fans got their wish. While promoting the Shattered Grid event, Boom Studios made a teaser trailer for it, and Jason David Frank got the chance to play Draken for real. And fans freaked.
Yeah, there's JDF right there, and pretty much exactly the complete Lord Draken outfit.
Freaked out. I mean, they loved it. He donned the costume and everything. I wish they brought him into the TV show and made him the villain for the 25th anniversary, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Regardless, we still got to see Jason David Frank play Lord Draken, and it was awesome. Who knows? I don't know, maybe he will get the chance to play him again one day. Maybe there's gonna be an episode where Draken shows up in the TV. Who knows? It's a possibility.
Highly doubtful, but it is
Number
possible.
1, he's not the...
Now this is the only one I didn't know. The fact that he's not the first Lord Draken. This is the only one I didn't know. I still find this interesting.
The first Lord Draken. This one is like super interesting. During the comics, when Rita was trying to bring Tommy back to her side, she brings up someone that she used to know, named Draken. He was this warrior that conquered his world and was, insanely powerful. Tommy ends up really liking that name because, of course, he ends up taking on and becoming the new Lord Draken. I wonder if soon we will see the original return. I think that'd be really cool. And it opens up a lot of different story possibilities.
That would be interesting.
Which we might end...
Also, since I brought it up earlier, again, issuing a bit of a spoiler warning here, this is Lord Draken's first evolved form after he got the semi-powers. This right here is his samurai form.
End up seeing down the line. Because, more Draken is always a good thing. Alright, there you have it, guys. The top 10 Power Rangers Lord Draken facts. What does your list look like? What do you like most about him? Let us know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and remember to subscribe to Top 10 Nerds so you always know whenever we post a new nerdy video just like this one. I am your host, David Raff, and thank you so much for watching.
Also,
new nerdy video, hit that like button. And
this little panel right here is where he was able to one last warning for now. This is where Draken was able to brainwash his timeline's Kimberly into becoming his Ranger Slayer. Which, again, her outfit is pretty nice.
And remember to subscribe to Top 10 Nerds so you always know whenever we post a new nerdy video just like this one. I am your host, David Raff, and thank you so much for watching.
This next video is a little bit of a backstory behind Tommy's Master Morpher that appeared back during the TV series' celebration of Power Rangers' 25th anniversary. The episode Dimensions in Danger from Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel.
Welcome to Variant, everybody. I've said it on the show before, but since I don't do episodes on them...
Hold on, guys. There we go. Sorry about that.
Too often, I wanted to reiterate. I'm a huge fan of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. There was like a 2-year stretch as a kid where I liked them more than DC and Marvel characters. With that said, I want to talk about one of the newest entries into the Power Rangers universe, Tommy Oliver's Master Morpher, which was introduced to us for the first time ever last week in the Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel 25th anniversary episode titled...
If I were to scroll down here, you can see that this video is from 2 years ago. So this isn't new at all.
Dimensions in Danger. That's right, for those of you who didn't know, 2018 is the year the Power Rangers are celebrating 25 years of being on the air. Meaning I was 6 years old when the first episode of Power Rangers aired on Fox. Anyway, you may be wondering, what was Tommy Oliver, the original Green Ranger and White Ranger played by Jason David Frank, doing on an episode of Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel? Well, remember, this was the 25th anniversary episode of Power Rangers, so there was a bunch of guest appearances from Legacy Rangers. Like Catherine, the Pink Turbo Ranger, Rocky, who was the second Mighty Morphin Red Ranger, Coda, the Dino Charge Blue Ranger, Wesley, the Time Force Red Ranger, Tommy, who was the original Green Ranger, and so on and so forth. Anyway, I think you guys get the point. There was a lot of Power Rangers from almost every era in this episode. This particular episode needs all these Rangers because of a villain called Lord Draven, who wants to destroy the multiverse. In order to do so, he kidnapped a bunch of Power Rangers throughout the multiverse and made Robo Rangers out of them, which are robot clones. Now, some of you may be like, that's all fine and dandy, Eris, but you're not telling us about Tommy Oliver's Master Morpher. Well, everything I'm telling you sets up for that, so bear with me. I'm about to get into it, like literally right now. We first see the Master Morpher when Tommy uses it against his robotic clone during Draven's invasion. The two of them fight in their civilian form for a bit, and after coming to a standstill, we get the first mention of the Master Morpher.
You may look like me, but unless you got a Master Morpher, you ain't nothing but a cheap copy.
Now at this point, most of us fans were like, what the heck is a Master Morpher? Which we soon find out. After the real Tommy mentions the Master Morpher, his clone morphs into the Dino Thunder Black Ranger. So Tommy follows suit. But he does it with his Master Morpher, which looks almost identical to his Green Ranger one. Now this is kind of weird because as Power Ranger fans know, the Dino Thunder Morpher is completely different from the Green Ranger Morpher. They look nothing alike. But the real Tommy gets his butt handed to him fairly quickly, and his Dino Thunder helmet cracks, exposing the left side of his face. So he stands up and says, there's lots of things that I can do that you can't, and then morphs into the Red Zeo Ranger. It's at this point it finally clicked with me 100%, and my mind was blown as I realized the Master Morpher means Tommy can morph into any of the Rangers he's ever been, which is all kinds of awesome and insane. For those of you who don't know, Jason David Frank and his character Tommy Oliver has been 5 different Rangers over the course of the Power Rangers TV.
Green and White Mighty Morphin, Red Zeo, Red Turbo, and Dino Thunder Black.
series. The Green Ranger, White Ranger, Red Zeo Ranger, Red Turbo Ranger, and the Black Dino Thunder Ranger.
I just got to mention it.
With that said, he's technically been 6 different Rangers over the course of his career, as most recently, an alternate reality version of Tommy Oliver was revealed to be Lord Drakkon in the Boom Studios Power Rangers comic book. But I digress. He continues to fight his clone while sporadically morphing into the different Rangers he's been over the years. Minus the Red Turbo Ranger for some reason, and obviously Lord Drakkon, as that's an evil alternate version of himself. So we see him say Tiger Zord, White Ranger power, and morph into the White Ranger and fight in that form for a little bit. Before finally saying Dragon Zord, Green Ranger power, and morphing into the first Ranger he's ever been, the frickin' Green Ranger. Which of course is the form he defeats his clone with. And easily too. He did it in like 2 punches and 2 kicks. Then later on in the episode, when Tommy was with some other Legacy Rangers while morphed into the Green Ranger, Lord Draven shot one of his arrows into the dimensional tear that was in the sky. So Tommy morphed into the White Ranger and summoned the White Ninja Falcon Zord to grab the arrow out of the sky with the Falcon Zord's talons and redirect it at Draven, destroying him. Now with that said, we don't know the origin of how the Master Morpher came to be. We just know that Tommy Oliver has it. We also know it allows him to access all of the Rangers he's ever been. Although we didn't see him morph into the Red Turbo Ranger, but that could just be because he didn't want to, or maybe he can't access the Red Turbo Ranger power for some reason. We don't really know one way or another yet.
Now, my theory is that Tommy didn't have access to his Red Turbo Ranger powers because Theodore J. Jarvis Johnson, or TJ for short, had them at the time the command center was destroyed all the way back at the end of Power Rangers Turbo. And since the Turbo Ranger powers went away along with the command center's destruction, that's my theory as to why Tommy can't morph into the Red Turbo Ranger.
We also know it looks near identical to Tommy's original Green Ranger power morpher. And we saw that when he calls forth a Ranger power, the symbol on the power coin changes to match that specific Ranger power he called out. Some of the differences on the morpher itself is the replacement of the Power Rangers lettering that used to be around where the power coin would go. It's now replaced with the same design seen on the chest of the Zeo Ranger suits. And where the power coins would originally go is all green now. Speaking of power coins, the Master Morpher seems to not need a physical power coin, as it's empty with just the aforementioned green space until Tommy calls forth a Ranger power, at which point the coin materializes inside the Morpher. Unfortunately, however, that's all we know for now about the Master Morpher. But one thing is for sure, introducing a Morpher that allows Tommy Oliver to morph into any of the Rangers he's been was a genius move and made for some of the best fan service we've seen in the Power Rangers franchise in a long time. I know he's my favorite Power Ranger, so seeing him morph into every Ranger he's been, minus the Red Turbo Ranger, was epic. With all that said, let me know in the comment section what you think of the Master Morpher, or what you think would be a cool addition to the next Power Rangers anniversary episode. But that's going to bring another episode of Variant to a close. But remember to check out variantcomics.com, as well as all of our social media. Links for that is in the description below. But I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.
This was something that so many of us...
Alright, for these last 2 videos, we're looking at the top 10 strongest Power Rangers. Now, I agree with both of these lists for the most part. I'll point out any disagreements I have, whether one should be higher up or below another, so on and so forth. But like I said, for the most part, I agree with both of these last 2 videos.
Grew up watching. It was something so different and unique than anything on TV back then. Plus, it started this massive franchise. I mean, it's still going on today. The TV show is still going strong. It's had multiple movies. But the thing that has helped it most in recent years is the new comic series from Boom Studios. It has taken Power Rangers to a whole new level and has been outselling multiple Marvel and DC comics. I mean, the Shattered Grid event was legendary. And with all these years of mythology comes a lot of Rangers. Some powerful, some not so powerful. Today we are...
What you're looking at now is actually a sneak peek of Power Rangers Dino Fury, coming out, I believe, sometime next year. It's either later this year or sometime next year. I forget exactly when.
We're going to be looking at the most powerful ones. Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to Top 10 Nerd. I'm your host, David Rath, and today we are going to be talking about the top 10 strongest Power Rangers. Now, this list could have so many possible candidates. and people are bound to disagree. But if it's popular enough, maybe we can get a part 2 or part 3 or even part 4, because there are just so many Rangers. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and remember to subscribe to Top 10 Nerds so you never miss one nerdy moment. Now, with all that being said, let's dive in. Number 10, Orion. Power Rangers Megaforce and Power Rangers Super Megaforce aren't known to be the greatest seasons of Power Rangers. I mean, they have a lot of cool moments and introduced us to some cool Rangers, but overall, there are a lot of things that could have been done a lot better. Orion is the Silver Megaforce Ranger, and the reason he's on here is because he can harness not only his own powers, but the powers of every 6th Ranger ever. And he can do it all
at the time of Super Megaforce. I mean, put that caveat there. Orion could harness the power of every 6th Ranger ever at the time of Super Megaforce.
All at the same time. I mean, that automatically makes him one of the most powerful Rangers around. In most cases, not all, the 6th Ranger of any team is usually considered to be one of the most powerful. So, having that power is a really big advantage for him. Number 9, Adam Park. The Black Mighty Morphin Ranger, the Green Zeo Ranger, and the Green Turbo Ranger. I feel like some people might automatically overlook Adam, especially because he came in as a replacement during Mighty Morphin, but he has shown time and time again why he is not only one of the best Power Rangers, but also one of the strongest. Not only did he become...
I'm a frog. If anyone gets that reference, let me know down in the comments.
3 different Rangers, but he has also shown how fearless he is. I mean, during Power Rangers in Space, he came back and ended up using his damaged power coin.
Black Mighty Morphin, Black Alien Ranger, technically also Black... These 4 right here, technically these 5, all represent Black Mighty Morphin. There's Black Alien, there's the Bat Ranger from Power Rangers Jungle Fury, Black Wild Force Ranger, Magna Defender from Lost Galaxy, Black Megaforce Ranger, Black Overdrive, that is indeed a gender-bent Black Mighty Morphin Power Ranger, Black Dino Charge, Psycho Black, Shadow Ranger, Black RPM Ranger, and I don't know either that one or that one.
And morphed into the original Black Ranger once again. It was dangerous and painful, but Adam did it to save Carlos, the Black Space Ranger, even though it could have killed him. It eventually got repaired, and Adam even returned during Operation Overdrive, leading a team of legendary Power Rangers. He had big shoes to fill, and when he...
Which, at the time of Operation Overdrive, that team included Bridge, the then red SPD Ranger, Xander, the green Mystic Force Ranger, Kira Ford, the yellow Dino Thunder Ranger, and one more, Tori, the blue Ninja Storm Ranger. Can remember her name right off the top of my head.
Came in, everyone wanted to hate all the replacements, but Adam proved everyone wrong and became one of the coolest and most powerful Rangers. Number 8, Jen Scotts. In every season of Power Rangers, the red is always the leader. Well, in Time Force, it was actually a little...
Not in the case of Time Force. Red ain't always the leader. Especially in the case of Time Force.
A little bit different. Jen, the Pink Ranger, led the team, and honestly, it makes total sense. She has the most experience when it comes down to it, and she can make all the difficult choices. She not only protects the world of the future, but also the past. She leads her team all throughout time, and does that while also taking on a new member, Wes, who had really no idea what he was getting into when he joined. Even in the final battle against Rancic, all the other Rangers are on the ground injured, and Jen manages to muster enough energy to get back up and take on Rancic even without morphing. Like,
I don't know why
that is seriously impressive.
Is whatever.
Number 7, Leo Corbett. Leo is the red Lost Galaxy Ranger, and the cool thing about him is that he wasn't even supposed to be the Red Ranger. His brother Mike was, but when his brother is about to die, he passes the power onto his little brother. And little did they know that Leo would not only go on to become one of the most powerful Rangers, but one of the greatest Red Rangers ever. A lot of people might have put Mike on this list instead of Leo because he went on to become the Magna Defender, but Leo has proven why he is more powerful time and time again. Not only did he overcome all the odds by becoming the Red Ranger, he overcame his impulsive nature to leap before looking and ended up defeating Trakina by himself at the end of the season. It was amazing and showed just how powerful Leo was.
Yep.
Number 6, Eric Myers. Eric the Quantum
Eric's
Ranger.
pretty
During
good.
Power Rangers Time Force, the Rangers were all looking for the quantum power because of how powerful it was. Eric ended up finding it, and he took it for himself. And of course, that didn't sit well with all the other Rangers. He may have butted heads with them on multiple occasions, but he also fought against Rancic. As the Quantum Ranger, he also commanded one of the most powerful Zords around. Well, I guess some have even called it the most powerful, and that's the Q-Rex. He may not have been the one the Rangers wanted, but Eric has proved himself multiple times, and even returned to help all the other Red Rangers during the Forever Red crossover special. Number 5, the Ranger Slayer. The Ranger Slayer comes from the Boom comic series and introduced us to Kimberly Hart, the original Pink Ranger, but from an alternate reality. And oh man, she was awesome. She has an altered suit, and she was brainwashed into working for Draken and killing other Rangers. Her story starts out the same way as the original Kimberly, but starts to change once Draken kills the Jason and Billy of her world. Add to the fact that the love of her life, Matthew Cook,
There, in the background, is the Ranger Slayer's personal Zord, which I believe I mentioned earlier, the Grave Zord, which, as you can see here, has the arm, or rather the head and tail, of the Red Dragon Zord, or Red Dragon Thunder Zord, the wings of the Pink Firebird, the claws of the Black Lion Zord, couldn't think of it for a moment, the chest, which is kind of hidden, of the White Tiger Zord, and the head of Tortha Shuttle Zord, actually. And there in her reflection is our Kimberly Hart and her Terra Zord. Her Pterodactyl Xenozord.
ended up getting killed. She kind of snapped and ended up taking Draken on herself. She destroyed so many of his sentries, but eventually was taken down and mind controlled to work for him.
And
she now
like I
possesses
said,
the Bow of
there in
Darkness
the
and
reflection
became known
of
as the
her helmet is the Grave Sword. Right there.
Ranger Slayer. She's killed multiple Rangers since then, and ultimately she did come back to the side of good and help them defeat it. This version of Kimberly is slightly older and has a lot more experience. I mean, she is just one of the coolest new additions to the Power Rangers canon. Number 4, Kruger. Kruger is part of the Power Rangers SPD team, and also known as the SPD Shadow Ranger. He ran the whole SPD, Space Patrol Delta, unit on Earth before actually joining the team later on. He was technically already powerful without his suit, but when he became the Shadow Ranger, it took his powers to a whole new level. I mean, he took on what was basically an army of Crybots by himself, and he didn't even get hit. Like, come on, that's pretty crazy. I mean, he didn't even have help.
Yeah, he was able to destroy 100 Crybots without getting hit once.
While he was doing it. He did it all on his own. Add to the fact that he has a really cool costume, and you have not only the strongest SPD Ranger, but just one of the strongest Rangers in general. He has also become super popular. As of the writing of this list, he's the only SPD Ranger to appear in the video game Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. Now,
yes, before we move on, yes, there is a Power Rangers fighting game. It's on Nintendo Switch for sure. I forget what other systems it's on. I've played it. It's alright.
Number 3, Lord Draken. Lord Draken has seriously become one of the coolest and most popular additions to the Power Rangers mythology.
Now see, I'm surprised Draken is only at 3. Considering how powerful he gets in the comics, he could easily top this list.
What Boom Studios and Kyle Higgins did with him was amazing.
Also, before we actually fully move on, potential spoiler warning for the comics.
And while yes, he technically possessed so many Ranger powers, and would be considered to be the most powerful in a sense, he was defeated. But that doesn't take away from how amazing he is. So if you don't know, Lord Draken is Tommy Oliver from an alternate reality. Basically, his story was the same.
Yeah, here's a better look at his first evolved form after he got the samurai powers.
Up until he was defeated by Jason. In this reality, instead of joining the Rangers, he left. Rita found him again, and the two went on to take over the world. He got even more powerful when he attacked the command center when Zordon was giving Jason the White Ranger power. But Draken intervened and took that power for himself, merging along with the one he already had. And because of that, that gave him a seriously badass costume. His mission from then on was to destroy all the Rangers from every dimension, and stealing powers along the way. I won't give too much away, but in his quest to defeat the Rangers, he started the event known as Shattered Grid, which brought together every Ranger team ever to stop him. Number 2, Tommy Oliver. Tommy. Oh man. One of the cool things about Tommy is that he has been so many different Rangers that it gave a chance for fans to be introduced to him at different times. Like different generations of fans. He was the Green Mighty Morphin Ranger, the Mighty Morphin White Ranger, he was the Green Mighty Morphin Ranger, the White Mighty Morphin Ranger, the Red Zeo Ranger, the Red Turbo Ranger, and the Black Dino Ranger. His most famous and most powerful form is definitely the Green Ranger. He was the very first evil 6th Ranger to be introduced, and he made a very strong impression. As the Green Ranger, he constantly fought the original 5 and usually always won. I mean, Rita made him for the sole purpose of destroying them. But he did get defeated and eventually join their side. He then continued to move up and lead multiple Ranger teams. I mean, he even helped create the Dino Rangers and Power Rangers Dino Thunder. He helped defeat Draken in Shattered Grid, and it was revealed in both the comics and TV show that he now possesses a Master Morpher, which is the first of his kind, which allows him to transform into any of his Ranger forms. Usually when a Ranger becomes a new Ranger, they lose access to their old Morpher. I mean, sometimes. The odd times they'll always get it back, but this way he can morph into any form at any given time, and that right there makes him insanely powerful. And number 1, Jason Lee Scott. The original Red Ranger. The original Red Ranger. Jason has shown time and time again why he is the most powerful Ranger. In the show, he was always the one going up against the biggest villains, including Tommy, who he ended up defeating by himself. I mean, he took on Goldar without powers in Season 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. He then went on to become the Gold Ranger during Power Rangers Zeo. He got those powers temporarily from Trey of Triforia, who was injured and split himself into 3 forms, and he was too weak to use the Gold Ranger powers, so he passed them on to Jason. But, most recently, he was the Red Omega Ranger, which was introduced in the comics. In Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 2, Jason, Trini, and Zack left for a...
Yet again, spoiler warning for the comics.
Peace conference and were replaced. But in the comic, it reveals that they actually went off to become the Omega Rangers and fight greater threats, even in space. He has proven himself not only to be the strongest Ranger, but also the strongest leader. No one leads a team like him, and no matter how bad things get, he never gave up. And if you...
This, right here, is actually Draken's final form. He has 3, technically 4 forms. His base form, which we've already seen plenty of throughout this list. His first form, after he got the samurai powers, which I've shown off. His second form, after combining the Zeo power, or rather the samurai powers from his second form with the Zeo powers. And this is his final form, which the origins of I'm not going to give away. For that, you'll have to go and read the comics.
Need any more proof?
Give me a second. There we go. But yeah, like I was saying, this is Draken's third form. His base form I've already shown off. We've seen plenty of throughout this list. His first form, his first powered up form, is the one he got from absorbing the samurai powers, which I've already shown off. His second powered up form is the form he got from combining the samurai powers with the Zeo powers. And this form we're looking at right here is his third form, his third and final powered up form, which the origin stuff I'm not going to say. You're gonna have to go and read the comics.
He was the ranger that led the charge against Draken during Shattered Grid, leading hundreds and hundreds of rangers. And he also gave the most epic speech during that time. He was also one of the main ones to lead the Red Rangers in Forever Red. Jason is the ultimate ranger. Alright, there you have it guys, the top 10 strongest Power Rangers. What does your list look like? Let us know down in those comments below. And if you'd want to see a part 2 of this list, because I think it'd be a lot of fun. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and remember to subscribe to Top 10 Nerds so you never miss one nerdy moment. I'm your host, David Raff, and thank you so much for watching. Well guys,
this will be the final video I'm reacting to today. This is the top 10 strongest Power Rangers, part 2.
We're back with a part 2 of the top 10 strongest Power Rangers.
Like
you guys
I said.
love part 1, and I mean, there are a lot of strong Power Rangers, so it only made sense to do another video. And let's be honest, it's always just fun to talk about Power Rangers. Hey everyone, what is up? Welcome to Top 10 Nerd. I'm your host, David Raff, and today we are going to be talking about the top 10 strongest Power Rangers part 2. Now, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and remember to subscribe to Top 10 Nerds so you never miss one nerdy moment. Now, with all that being said, let's dive in. Number 10, Ryan Mitchell. Ryan is the Titanium Ranger from Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. Now, there was a lot of build-up about the Titanium Ranger because of how powerful those powers are. I mean, even Carter tried to wield it and couldn't. Ryan is the son of Captain Mitchell, and as I mentioned in another video, his father and sister were all involved in a car accident. They were hanging off a cliff, and Captain Mitchell only had a secure grasp on his daughter. And just as Ryan was about to fall, Diabolico appeared and offered to save Ryan, but he would raise Ryan himself, and Captain Mitchell wouldn't see him again until he was about 20 years old. Of course, the captain agreed, and then Ryan grew up with Diabolico and was fed all these lies about his father and how he abandoned him, and then he eventually broke into the Aqua Base and stole.
Ryan, the Titanium Ranger, fun fact, is also the first and currently only American-made Power Ranger for the TV series. We've had no other American-made Rangers, at least for the TV series. For the comics, we've had plenty.
The Titanium Morpher, and his mission was to destroy the Power Rangers. And as is the case with a lot of evil Rangers, he became good in the end and joined the team. Ryan is also very unique because he has no Super Sentai counterpart. The suit was an American creation, which is cool because the suit itself is pretty awesome, and showed how far Power Rangers has come because every season started filming more and more of their own footage. Of course, they still use Sentai footage, but they do a lot more of their own now. Number 9, Katie Walker. Let me start off by saying, I love Time Force. The whole season was just so good and gave us so many memorable moments, but also just memorable Rangers. I already mentioned 2 of them on part 1 of the list. Now I get to talk about Katie, and don't be surprised if there's another Time Force.
If you forget, the 2 he mentioned back in the previous video were Jen Scott and Eric Myers, the Pink and Quantum Ranger, respectively.
Characters somewhere on this list as well. Okay, but back to my main point. Katie is very unique because not only is she powerful when she's morphed as the Yellow Time Force Ranger, but she also has enhanced strength as well. Without it, the reason she has these powers is because of genetic engineering. She is able to lift concrete debris with ease. And when they teamed up with the Wild Force Rangers, she beat Danny, who of course is the Black Wild Force Ranger, in an arm wrestle easily, which fans thought was a really cool and funny moment. Katie never backed down from a fight and was crucial in taking down the season's big bad, Rancic. Number 8, RJ. Robert James, but better known as RJ, is the Wolf Ranger or Purple Ranger from Power Rangers.
God, give me a sec. There we go. I am so sorry about that, guys. My camera just keeps freezing up. but at least it's getting fixed. Anyway, back to the video.
Jungle Fury. He is probably one of the craziest and coolest Rangers around. I mean, for one, his fighting style is unlike anything Power Rangers has done before, and that's also probably why he was the first main Jungle Fury Ranger to be playable in the new fighting game Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. He's actually one of the best characters in that game, and hopefully they start adding more Jungle Fury Rangers soon. I mean, they added Daishi, who was the,
At the time of, was just gonna say that at the time of this video, we've only gotten 2 Jungle Fury Rangers for Battle for the Grid. Art, of course, and Daishi, but they literally just mentioned Daishi, so yeah. No need to be repetitive, right?
Villain of the season as well. But RJ, as a whole, is just one of the most unique. He was the mentor to the main 3 Rangers of the season, Casey, Lily, and Theo, and he also owned Jungle Karma Pizza, where the main 3 worked, but also used as their main command center. RJ had a really big job when he was chosen to help stop Daishi, and was crucial in preparing the Rangers for that incoming threat. Number 7, Wes Collins. Wes, the Red Time Force Ranger. Like I mentioned earlier, another member of the Time Force team made their way onto this list, further cementing them as one of the best. But back to Wes, he's just all around a very strong Ranger. The crazy thing is that he just started off as, some rich kid's son who ended up becoming the Red Power Ranger. Now, he wasn't technically the leader of the team, as most Red Rangers are, that was Jen. But Wes probably wouldn't have been ready right away anyway. He grew as the season went on and went on multiple time-traveling missions, and would go on to be one of the leaders of the Silver Guardians. Even during the battle with Rancic, Wes was one of the only ones to cause major damage to him with his battleizer, which also looked just so cool. Wes showed how he was not only strong physically, but mentally, because getting thrown into a time-traveling superhero team without any real experience would have been hard on anyone. But he pulled it off, and he became a fan-favorite Ranger. I mean, he has returned multiple times for multiple anniversary events. Number 6, Tori Hansen. Tori comes from, in my opinion, one of the greatest seasons of Power Rangers ever, Ninja Storm. Now, all of the Ninja Storm Rangers are powerful, but there are a few reasons why Tori might be considered to be slightly stronger. Firstly, her water abilities are incredibly powerful. As we all know, water can be such a powerful weapon in a lot of different situations. I mean, not only can she make tidal waves or just manipulate it to her will, she can also use it to track things, as she did when she was sent to locate the Turtle Mace Power Sphere. She is also a great fighter and was able to hold her own against multiple villains by herself. On top of all that, she was one of the Rangers that was brought back by the Centennial Knight to protect the world when the Overdrive Rangers lost their powers. They have been called the Retro Rangers, and were made up of Rangers from multiple seasons. And it was a big deal that she was chosen to be one of those Rangers to come back and protect the world. Number 5, Carter Grayson. Oh, good old Carter.
Carter, don't mess with me, Grayson. Carter, I'm willing to do anything, Grayson.
I mean, he's just a cool Ranger. Not only is he a great guy, I mean, he was a firefighter before he became a Ranger. So he was already saving lives for a very long time. And then the man he idolized, Captain Mitchell, who was the reason he became a firefighter, since he saved Carter when he was a kid, asks him to lead the Power Rangers as the Red Lightspeed Ranger. He is a great leader, but he can also handle a lot of situations on his own. I mean, he fought Vipera all on his own and basically won. And he helped defeat Queen Ventura by throwing her into the Shadow World. He even took on the Titanium Ranger, who is also, as we know, very, very powerful. As I mentioned in my Red Ranger video, Carter is a very by-the-books kind of guy, and while that sometimes hurts him, it has really turned him into one of the most powerful Rangers of all time. Number 4, TJ Johnson. TJ had such a difficult task when he joined the Power Rangers. I mean, he was the guy that had to replace Tommy Oliver, and that would have been hard for anyone to do. Luckily, TJ pulled it off, and became not one, but 2 different Power Rangers, the Red Turbo Ranger and the Blue Space Ranger. TJ has shown time and time again why he is one of the strongest. Not only in strength, but by his sheer force of will, and his never give up mentality. I mean, when the power chamber was being destroyed, TJ made sure that he wouldn't leave Alpha behind, even though it was dangerous. Plus, going from Earth missions to missions across the galaxy was a massive leap that not everyone would have been able to take. But he did it. He was also a crucial part of 2 Ranger teams. TJ has also returned numerous times during Forever Red and the Legendary Battle and Dimensions in Danger. Number 3, Andros. Let me start off by saying, I think Andros has one of, if not the coolest intro for a Red Ranger ever. I mean, he goes undercover during this massive villain party, that featured numerous villains from various seasons of Power Rangers. I mean,
Rita Repulsa, Lord Zed, King Mondo, Divatox, just to name a few.
it had Lord Zed, Rita, Divatox, Goldar, Astronema, and many more. Dark Spectre was also around, who mysteriously looks a lot like Malagor from Turbo. I always wondered about that. I think
yeah, see, there's Goldar, there's King Mondo, his wife the Queen, I forget her name, and some regular foot soldiers slash grunts in the background there.
they just used the same costume and just kind of slightly altered it, but I like to think that they were just brothers or something, not that they just reused the same costume. But back to my main point. Andros is there undercover, and although he is caught, he doesn't give up, and he fights. That would take a lot of courage to do that. I mean, going into a room full of the galaxy's greatest villains, he does it and he survives. Plus, he took on the Psycho Rangers, and he was the guy that destroyed Zordon, which was a massive deal and basically ended the 6-season-long arc of Power Rangers. Andros had a ton of memorable moments and even ended up coming back for Forever Red. Hopefully, since he's still technically an active Ranger, he will return one day again. Number 2, Trent Fernandez Mercer. Trent is the White Dino Ranger, and
I didn't think about it. He's got a point. Andros is technically still active. I mean, yeah, the actor, Andros' actor, Christopher Kamen Lee, doesn't exactly want to play it anymore, but in Power Rangers canon, Andros is very much still active.
And aside from just being powerful, if there was a top 10 Ranger suit list, Trent's would most definitely be on there. I mean, it's just so freaking cool. All of Dino Thunder's suits were, for that matter. But, okay, back to the main point. Trent is the adopted son of the season's big bad, Mesogod. He found the White Dino Gem, which was corrupted, and because of that, he became evil. Although the cool thing about him is that he wasn't just taking orders from Mesogod like a lot of other evil Rangers would have. He was just doing his own thing, and would team up with the villains if it suited him. Trent eventually became good and joined the Dino Rangers. He is one of their most valuable assets. I mean, he beat Tommy in a fight, and Tommy is one of the greatest Rangers around. He also has super speed and can camouflage himself. Trent also returned to the show recently during the show's 25th anniversary episode, Dimensions in Danger. Unfortunately, he didn't have a lot to do in it, but it was just still cool to see him return. Number 1, the Psycho Rangers. I probably should have included them on the first list. That was my bad.
Dude, frick that. Include Evil Rangers. Besides, the Psycho Rangers are pretty freaking... they're amazing.
I was trying to focus more on non-evil Rangers, but I did include Draken. So I mean, I kind of messed up there because Draken and Psycho Rangers both would have been on the first list. So that was my fault. The Psycho Rangers definitely deserved this spot and would have been near the top on the first list. I mean, they were my pick for the best evil Rangers ever on my other list. But okay, let's talk about them because they're just amazing. The Psycho Rangers made their first appearance during Power Rangers in Space and made a brief but very memorable return during Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. There are 6 of them overall: the red, pink, blue, black, yellow, and green.
Oh, okay, he did say green.
Who was recently introduced in the comics and killed a lot of Rangers. They have amazing suits, and they were created by Astronema as the evil counterpart to the Space Rangers. Now, the Space Rangers did defeat them, but not easily.
I suppose I should address this. This one right here, Psycho Silver, is actually the Silver Space Ranger in disguise.
And to this day, they remain one of the scariest villains in Power Rangers history. I mean, the Pink Psycho Ranger was responsible for the death of the Pink Lost Galaxy Ranger Kendrix. Alright, there you have it, guys, the top 10 strongest.
Sorry about that. Camera froze up for the final time, so let's back it up and repress that. Psycho Silver here is actually the quote-unquote disguise of the Silver Space Ranger, Zane, and was not part of the Psycho team at all. It was only red, yellow, black, pink, blue, and green. No silver.
Today, they remain one of the scariest villains in Power Rangers history. I mean, the Pink Psycho Ranger was responsible for the death of the Pink Lost Galaxy Ranger Kendricks. Alright, there you have it guys, the top 10 strongest Power Rangers part 2. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and remember to subscribe to Top 10 Nerds so you always know whenever we post a new nerdy video, just like this one. I'm your host, David Raff, and thank you so much for watching.
Alright, and that was it for today's reaction stream. I hope you all enjoyed. Hope y'all learned some stuff about Power Rangers you may or may not have known, especially about Draken. And the reason I did all this at all today is well, I was on a bit of a Power Rangers kick, to be honest. So I figure why not set some stuff up and set the Power Ranger stuff up and react to it. So, yeah. I hope you all enjoyed. May the power protect you all, and be good people. Bye.